This program helps analyze income streams from donations and grants by visualizing data using Python. In this example, I used a small foster care business and created a connection only to an income file on the desktop. On the left side of the screen, we have our filter data set. We can pivot our data in the first column with this drop down and our second column with this drop down. We can also group and summarize our data and control our anomaly flags by this manual input, the contamination amount. A higher value will flag more anomalies, and a lower value will flag only extreme ones. And as you can see, I have mine set at 5% right now. On the right side, we have our visualized data. I've started over here with a static chart. This gives a high overview of the type of funding we're receiving. It helps you understand the funding types and restrictions, and this is helpful for budgeting and planning. Here you can see what is flexible versus what is restricted. And according to this data set, we have a large amount of restricted donations. Now we can start asking questions like, what are the restricted donations for? Are we too dependent on funds that we can't freely allocate? Maybe we need to focus more on raising unrestricted funds. We can look into that even more with this chart over here. Here we can group by restricted funds versus income types, and we can also manually input the number of top donors we want to display. We have the top 5 right here. All other donors are lumped into this other category. Because that category is so big right now, I'm going to thin it out more by displaying our top 15 donors. Top 15 donors. So we can see here, based on our restricted funds, the state foster program has a very sizable amount. We can drill into them a bit further over here by inputting their name and displaying information over 2024 to 2025. So from this, we can see that they did not donate non-restricted funds in 2025, but they did increase the amount of restricted funds donated from 2024 to 2025 by a considerable amount. We can see what type of donations they made. From this, we can infer that their restricted donations decreased, but the amount of their grants increased considerably. So here we can infer, hey, maybe they're not happy with how unrestricted funds are being handled. This is definitely something to look into. It might also be an opportunity to launch new unrestricted initiative to see how they respond. These types of visuals also allow us to personalize communications, target fundraising, and see the impact of campaigns and initiatives, and offer better transparency to our donators. Down here, to dive into our information even further, we can plot our anomalies. So this Python code uses unsupervised machine learning, and each plot is a donation. From this drop down, we can choose between anomaly, which is useful for spotting irregularities at a glance through your data set as a whole, or anomaly context, which spots anomalies in group data. So donors with unrestricted fund group, or the donors and non-restricted funds group. So right off the bat, we can see state foster program as a whole is an anomaly. If we look at them in context as a group, restricted versus unrestricted funds, they are still an anomaly. What about the type of donation? So donations versus grants. Well, we can see that they are not an anomaly. So spotting anomalies is useful here for a lot of reasons. It could be a very generous gift and you want to reach out and thank the donor, or it might be something you want to investigate. It could also indicate a mistake in your data, new trends, or just areas in general that you want to focus on. Below this is our forecasting model, forecasting future income trends using ARIMA. And this is a good model to use when your data isn't seasonal and when you have a large data set. So we can change the forecasted months up here to manual input. But we can already see from this pattern, it looks like income is on a steady trend up. This is something we can monitor along with our financials going forward.